All right. Hey Jeff.
Hi Lou, how are you?
Good. So you were talking about the Blackhawks?
Yeah, man. For some strange reason, they jumped two teams and got the first pick in the draft. I'm not going to say for some strange reason because everybody knows the NHL does not like know how the balls wind up and all that other stuff. It's just like they come out and say, "We did this, and here's how it turned out." So I don't know if they see because a large market team like the Blackhawks are now without superstars that they just did they hand it to them or did they honestly get it in the lottery? Uh, yeah.
So it's like
So
wait,
there's that.
is it weighted like the NBA? Like
It is kind of weighted like the NBA, but it's just like they don't show you the lottery going off. It's like them in a room and blah blah blah. So I mean, when it's like that, it's like as a fan, how do you trust that?
yeah.
How does it get to where like the league cannot manipulate how they want the league to go? You
It's
know what
like
I mean?
the Kentucky Derby. They draw those post positions. They draw a horse's name and a post position, and it's in a public place, so there's no, because those post positions are pretty important depending on what kind
Yeah.
of horse you have.
So I mean, I am fucking ecstatic because I mean Connor Bedard is a generational talent. I mean, he's like up there with those draft picks like, like the kid from Toronto and Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin and even I'm not gonna say go crazy and say Gretzky because Gretzky is the greatest, or
The great
none.
one,
Oh,
right?
he's I mean, he was the slickest of the slick. Um, But I mean, he's like one of those guys that's just like he's going to be a bona fide superstar if God forbid something doesn't bad happen to him where he gets a bad injury or blah 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 blah. I mean, not to jinx anything, but I mean, if he stays healthy and he plays the way he's playing as a kid right now, and he moves that up as he gets older, yeah, is going to be special. He's going to be the one you're talking about in the NHL.
So
So
you
I'm just super ecstatic. He's the best out of the four. There's four big ones coming out. I can't remember the other guys' names. Um, but I mean, he is leaps and bounds above those other three. And those other three could start this year on an NHL roster. That's how good they are. So,
Are you still sporting your Kraken jersey there or whatever your
yeah, this
hoodie?
for Elizabeth. Hell yeah, I love the colors of this team. The team colors are fucking cool as shit. I do actually have a Kraken's jersey. We can change into that. That'd be even better.
We'll talk about baseball pretty soon.
I know. Right now we're on the hockey, but yeah. Let me get into the Kraken jersey. Off my beefcake.
Now it's R rated.
Yeah, no shit, right? All right. I showed a little bit of side boob. All right, cool. Now here we go. This is more like it. Go Kraken. Even though I'm a Blackhawks fan right now, I'm going for the Kraken. So, anywho, who's on
Hey,
board today with us?
before we invite our guest in, I know you don't care for the Derby, but I had that two Phils, and I was really excited because two Phils was actually in the lead as they were coming toward the stretch, but he got passed by the horse on the outside. But it was two Phils is from Chicago. You should be rooting for two Phils.
I know one Phil.
Yeah, they had the apostrophe problem in that name, like lemmings. So, but I still went for it.
Call the apostrophe
But
police.
I came out ahead. I bet $19.50 and I won about $3. So so it was big. Drinks
Win
were
a
on
win a
drinks were on me.
Hostess donut winner. I mean, there ain't gonna be no chicken dinner. Those cost too much for the $3 you won.
Chicken pot pie. Paid for like half of one.
That's even a little bit more than that now. It's like $4 or $5, especially if you get Marie Calendar.
Well, should we invite our special guest in?
Yeah, why not?
All
Let's
right.
see.
He
Let's
can.
pop it up here and
He'll
see
be
if
the
he's
first
on.
one that's around for the tour of the standings.
What are the over and under that we're going to see a blank wall when it comes up
Uh,
here? He's taking a leak. You never know.
I texted him, so I think he's ready. I texted him that we're close.
We shouldn't text them. We should just do it and just see, like, just take a bet on to see if they're at the laptop or not.
There he
Hey,
is.
John, what's going on?
How you doing, Jeff?
Good. How you been?
All right.
Nice. Too bad we missed you at the draft. I'm sorry you got sick.
Yeah, with three kids,
Yeah,
all
strep throat
school, that
blows,
stuff
man. I
goes
mean,
around.
strep throat sucks. So sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah,
We
I
missed
could
you.
tell you weren't feeling too good. You know.
Yeah, when you leave like $60 on the table.
Did you
Eh,
did
you
you
know
even do
what?
it?
I'm the only one in this group that's never done that. I know Lou's done that
I've
before.
done it.
I don't know. I was gonna do my prep work on Friday, and I was just feeling like crap. So I there was zero prep work,
Well, the
and I
team's like
got
right in the
stuck.
middle.
Hmm?
The team's right in the middle, and the KOD predictions had you. That's the RotoWire ones, and Yahoo had you like right out of the money fifth. So they had me ninth. So they're pretty accurate so far, I guess.
Well, I'm in a bad part of my. I have delusions of the last 2 years. May is a bad month for me because all three kids are in sports 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's why we had a date. We had a date picked out for you, but then Chad needed to change. But then this one worked for you too. So
No, this is fine, but
yeah.
I'm like to set my lineup. It's
Oh, I see.
I'm driving my kids around. I have two of them that it's either soccer or track, and the wife coaches volleyball, and it's nuts.
It's almost like you have to set alarms to remind you to look at your roster. You know what? This week I got fucking boned by Yahoo again. I set my lineup the night before, and I know I put Steele in. I know I switched some things around, put Nate Jones in, this and that. And then it's like I caught it right as soon as the Cubs game started. I just went to look, and he wasn't in, and I couldn't
Oh,
put him in. And then I had to put Nate Jones and all those guys back in because they were at night games and shit. But like it because of Matt Mervis coming off the NA, it reverted all my shit back to the changes I did, before I made the changes. What the fuck is that?
yeah.
Well, and they had I Acuna. He was listed as day to day, so I took him out of my lineup. Well, then he was in the lineup, and they did a day night doubleheader. I didn't get him in for that, and he had like 11 points.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get him in the next day, and he still had 6 points or something.
Ugh. Yeah, just start bleeding right there. Like, oh, but that was like 25 points from Steele that I missed this week.
Oh, I hate that.
And hey, sorry, Sean, I kind of overtook you in the end there this week. I was like,
No,
oh, please, I don't want to get 0-6.
Did you go 0-6, Sean?
yeah, I did.
Oh, you
I
did.
went 1-5. But man, I was in the 0-6 territory, and I scored a lot on the last day, thank God.
Well, I had
Yeah.
Flaherty. He had like a minus 25.
Oh, dude, those are the worst. That's
And
a
and
week. That kills your whole week.
and I have a weak spot for him because I'm sure you probably know, but him, uh, Zach or Freed and Giolito were on the same high school team,
Oh shit.
and they
Yeah, yeah,
didn't
I
win
did know
state.
that. I did know that.
They didn't win state. Flaherty was their starting shortstop as a freshman. Freed and Giolito were the two starting pitchers. They lost 1-0 in like the quarterfinals.
Wow.
Hey, Jeff, I'm going to share the standing screen, but
All right.
disabled or something?
No, probably I just didn't give you the fucking go ahead. Multiple participants. All right. You're good to go.
All right.
Hey,
So,
this is
Sean,
a drinking podcast too. If you want to get lit on something, Uh, bring your bottle.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
Lou has a box of wine next to him. All right, you're sharing it.
I got a vodka lemonade.
There you go.
okay. Good.
There we go.
There. All right. So Satchel went 6-0, and
Yeah, he's right
Sean
on
went
your
0 and
heels.
6.
Aimed
And,
a game on you.
the Buddha standings are the same. Capital Knockers on top, and Sombreros are runners up. And
Look at
then
all these ties. You
Bizzotti's
know,
lucky laggard, and Gaggers are runner up.
you got a three bunch at 17 wins. Got a couple bunch at 13. I think me and Sean are bunch at 13.
Yeah, yeah, that's all.
And the last two have 10 each.
Yeah, actually, look at that. It's
Good.
what 3.5 games for what is that? 7 teams,
Yeah,
six
we gotta
teams, six
yeah, we
teams.
gotta we gotta like start seeing some separation here between one another.
Yeah, one decent week and you're in fourth place.
It's like it's just all bunched up in spots.
Yeah, Bizzotti moved up to seventh with 4-2. They had 2 games of weekend warrior in. They went up, and Spear was the straw spinner. They lost 3 games. They went 3-3. And you can see even the games played overages, underages, the IP overages. It's kind of like settled pretty. It's like the same team. When it's not in red, it means it's the same as the previous week. So daddies are still the paragons of pitching pace prudence. And BABIP still let's play leading. And daddies are trailing. That's new.
Yeah, had a bad week.
And then ERA minus FIP is Satch. That would mean that better days could be ahead, and the Gaggers are probably getting lucky with their pitching.
Yeah, all fucking season.
I know.
I mean, are you kidding me?
I mean, I know it's luck because I don't start this way usually, and I'm doing it the same way that I've done it for at least 5, 6, 7, 8 years now, probably. So, you know,
Oh, it's working for you.
the players of the week, Christian Walker was for Sombreros, even though they went 0-6. And then Satch had Sean Murphy, a catcher. There were a lot of good catchers this week. There's like 3 or 4 catchers in that top 12 or so. Usually I have to sort by catcher, individually to see the catchers.
Yeah, later on we're gonna have to talk about a catcher who's not going to be a catcher anymore.
Yeah, I think he will be, but we'll see. But I
I don't
definitely
know,
want to talk.
man.
I definitely want to talk about the Cardinals. That's crazy. Bo Bichette for the Cows. And we had a tie at outfield, Luis Robert and Santander for the Brides and Knockers. When they're tied for points, I go to games played, and they have the same games played too. So no way to break the tie. And Spearhead Cal Quantrill and Bryce Elder for McBride's.
Who the fuck is Bryce Elder?
Yeah, I don't think I could tell you what team he's on. Do you know, Sean?
No, I don't. I was just looking at that. I'm like, who the hell is Bryce Elder?
The Braves, maybe? Is he on the Braves? I don't know.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him ever.
And then Bizzotti had close of the week with Doval.
That's the best thing about baseball. Sometimes somebody's going to come out of fucking left field, probably through corn stalks.
I just wanted to check this because Let's Play is leading in BABIP, but they're number 1 in stolen bases, so that might justify they've been leading for most of the year, young year.
He's like almost last in home runs though, so he got a bunch of slap hitters that are fast.
Sombreros were 2 before, now they're 3 stolen bases. But anyway, so these are the ranks. This is the raw tab, and then the rates and ranks is here, so you can see what your team OPS is. Shawnee's at 758. The daddies are at 734. And then here's the ranks down
Look
here.
at Satch's 845. He's got a better OPS than you, and you're in first place.
Yeah, his pitching hasn't been as good, right? It's
He's crushing it and hitting.
Yeah.
his
And his
pitching.
batting average, his BABIP is not, I mean, it's just middle.
His pitching though, he's got the worst BABIP. You can see the FIP is fifth and his ERA seven.
His pitching is kind of like middle of the road.
So he's gonna, but he's probably gonna, do a little bit better in the pitching. And the hitting doesn't look like it's gonna move too far. I mean, he's right in the middle in BABIPs. Sixth would be exact middle, right? So he's right in
Yep.
the middle.
I think he could improve a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he could. I mean, he
Well,
can't
I
go.
mean, it's hard to go from, but maybe batting average goes up a little bit. I mean, 4 is not bad, but I'm just saying.
Well, he's got guys that are wrecking the ball right now.
So I sent a second standings out because the prediction model was all screwed up. Well, but I did fix it, so you can see what the predicted rest of the season. This is what you're predicted to do.
Uh,
It takes Buddha luck out, and it adjusts for games played and innings overages and underages. The underages, it doesn't. I don't assume that you're going to make up an underage, so I just leave it where it is because you can't assume that. But the overages, obviously, you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to finish over. So I adjust for that. So you can see Satch is predicted to be one game out the rest of the year, and of course, this is only 30% correlation to the rest of the year. So it's still up in the air. A bad week, and then Gaggers will be down, below Satch as far as remainder. But anyways, I don't know. Hopefully you like this. I mean, this was just a way that you could look at
if
the
Elon
standings.
Musk ever sees this, he's going to probably try to hire you as a rocket scientist.
I don't know. It's not. It's not. I don't know. I think it's more
Mathematics is what it is.
modest
Knowing
level.
where to put what.
Modest level. But I like this because we know that some guys are over and some are, and this was and some guys had Buddha luck. So this is just a way to make sense of the standings. Of course, these numbers are all based on what's happened.
Yeah.
So when you get Harper and Tatis back, or you get a key player injured, it's not, this doesn't adjust for that at all. So
Right. Well,
anyways.
we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. You never know who's going to get hurt. You never know how shit's just going to fold. And some people go really slow at the same time. There could be a stretch there, Lou, where you go like 0-6, 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'll do it four in a row, but yeah, an 0
You
and
never
6.
know. It's baseball. It's weird.
When these pitchers start, faltering, which they're long overdue for, I mean, that will happen, so,
Can't
so
trust pitching, man. Their elbows blow out.
when you've done the league for 30, some odd years, you don't get too cocky because you've seen it all, right? So I finished in
Oh
last,
God.
and I tried that year. I have no excuses. I just finished in last.
Oh God. I mean, there's been times where I was like way down the dumpers and shit. And the worst thing is like when you start to feel the vultures around you trying to pick your players off of you and trying to give you really stupid fucking trades just to, just pull people away from you and stuff. And you're just like, I haven't quit yet. Leave me alone.
Yeah, well, I think I pointed out last week that Doug's been in the league the longest without ever finishing last. So that's a real challenge this year because he wasn't at the auction, but he's
Oh
not he's
yeah,
not
I
in
mean,
last, right? He's not in last right
there would
now.
be an asterisk by this one if he did finish last. To
Yeah.
be honest with you,
Did Chris finish in last that year that he didn't come to the auction? I don't remember.
that was before me.
He did finish in last because I don't think he's not one of the guys that's on that list. So maybe that was the year he finished last.
Yeah, I have no idea. That was like probably maybe 5 or 6 years before I even joined the
Yeah,
league.
it was probably like 2002 ish somewhere. It was when we had it
Yeah,
at the Beetle, and I know the last year we had it at the Beetle was maybe
I think the
2001 even.
first year I was in it was 2007. I know the second year I won, and that's 2008. So 2008 on the other trophy, brought it down here and showed you guys. No, but anyway, yeah, 2007 is when I started.
Sean, you were in the league from the. Oh, I totally dissed you last week. I said that Chad and I were the only original members left, and you were there too. So I felt I think
The whole thing started out in DuPage, huh?
DeKalb.
DeKalb, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
DuPage County. Is that DuPage County?
I didn't have. I didn't. I
Out
had
to
this.
DeKalb County.
DeKalb County.
Yeah. But I think the reason I did that, Sean, is that I had the that history spreadsheet, and because you were gone from the league for so long, you weren't listed like with me and Chad as far as most seasons, and that's why I forgot. But so you
No,
were
I
in the league.
remember doing it, and I can't remember what newspaper it was, but doing the weekly thing. I remember laying on the carpet, that shag carpet that you shared with Sean Murphy in that.
All you had to do is say shag carpet, that gives you the era.
But it was in that attic apartment that you had on John Street.
Oh,
That's what I think that was the first year we did that.
the first year it was on the corner of a college in Augusta. They turned that into like a rehab house.
Yes. Oh, maybe not John. But yeah, college. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that flop house.
I remember that bumpy shag carpeting they had it down in the first floor too, and you and a few other guys used to chew, and you'd have these
Yeah.
like big gulp cups full of spit, and like it was a bumpy rug, it wasn't level, and they would spill, and oh my god, I wasn't a chewer, man, that's just the worst. Oh
Oh,
my god.
oy.
Well, we
You
had
ever
like
sit
what?
in a poker game and have somebody drink some chew spit out of somebody's Heineken bottle? I've seen that before. That was not fucking good,
Yeah.
man, because that guy just started puking and then it made me want to puke.
In Syracuse, we had one of those tables. It was like like a spindle, like one of those giant cable. I don't know what to call it, but anyways, the whole table was covered with cans, bottles. There wasn't really a ashtray. There wasn't a place that you could even put some down. And I thought I had my beer, and I took a sip, and it was like, and a cigarette butt came out, and oh my god, that drive me back. I don't even know how old that can was. You know what I mean? They could have been
Ugh.
3 weeks or 2 months. Who knows? So,
It's like, what is that, Spalding at fucking Caddyshack?
yeah, it was
He's
just like
drinking
that.
people's drinks and he gets that that
Hmm.
cigarette butt in his mouth.
It was just like that, and I sort of looked like him too. So, all right. Well, you're seeing the top hitters, right?
Mm.
Yeah, Acuna on top. They were saying that.
Dolis Garcia has been on fire. He's Look at that. Those are two Cardinal guys right there in the top, like
Yeah, that's got
six.
that's
You
got to
got
be
Adolis
killing.
Garcia. You got actually Goldschmidt's there. Could you imagine if those guys were still on that team? You'd have three of the top six guys in the league,
I was
and then
thinking
we
about the
wouldn't be
Cardinals.
hearing about the St. Louis woes right now.
I know that we were going to talk about the Cardinals because I can't really figure it out. That Mozeliak, how do you say his name? I don't know. Mozeliak, John Mozeliak, whatever. He, he was
Muslinski?
he was the GM starting in 2007, and he's bumped up to president or whatever baseball operations, and they have a GM that started in 2017. So it doesn't make sense that all of a sudden these guys got so dumb. But the Cardinals, they're just like a shit show right now. I mean,
Well,
besides
here's the
besides
thing
the
though.
fact that
If
you
you
talked
look,
about who they traded away, Alcantara and Alcantara, I mean, and Gallen, and then you just point out those two hitters, Adalis, who I forgot was a Cardinal originally, and Rosarena. I mean, like they've got to be there's something going on there. And then they signed Wilson Contreras, and now they're benching him. He's not going to be the catcher at least for a while. I mean, it's
oh,
just
they're not going to bench him. They're just going to throw him in the
right,
outfield, and
right,
it's
right.
like, okay, well, you already got enough outfielders. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? Is he going to DH most of the time and just play
DH,
outfield a little
yeah,
bit?
but his value it's so different. The numbers you put up as a catcher, I mean, those are really ordinary numbers if you're
Oh, I
hitting
think
around
they've
the
got some
diamond.
buyer's remorse right now because here's the thing. last year the Cubs were not very good in pitching. They weren't good in pitching the year before either. They had good pitchers, they weren't good in pitching. Could it be the fucking catcher who can't call a goddamn game and can't frame shit? And
It could
now
be,
this
yeah.
catcher leaves the Cubs, goes to the Cardinals, and now they're having the problems we were having the year or two before.
You know, I
I
had
think
mentioned.
you're onto something there because the word that I've heard, the pitching staff in St. Louis does not trust him. They've given up 27 two-strike home runs this year.
Yeah,
There was an
he's the one
article in The
calling for those
Athletic.
pitches. He's the one calling for those pitches. And if they
Yeah,
try to trust him and they throw that fucking ball and it gets knocked over the fence, guess what? You're going to lose trust in that fucking idiot.
Well, why don't they just have the pitchers call? I mean, I'm sure Wainwright is capable of,
well, but
calling his own pitches. You know,
it's part
was
of
it?
that pitch clock. They don't have time anymore to
Yeah.
like shake off.
So I mean,
That was
the pitchers should
there
be
was
calling
an
his pitch.
awesome article in The Athletic explaining that he can't frame pitches, the pitchers don't trust him, and you don't have time to shake him off and go, hey, well, no, I don't want the curveball. No, I don't want the changeup. Oh, well, by the time you get to the fastball, I mean, he's got to go.
But why don't they have the pitchers call the pitches then?
Well, I don't know. They have
Well,
that.
they can shake them off and shit like that, but now do they have time to shake it off or
Yeah,
they
you
just
got
go with it?
15 seconds.
Yeah. They kind of just got to go with what he's throwing out there sometimes, you know? They've taken that away from the pitcher.
But you know, a couple weeks ago, I think it was, I had said, you know, why did the Cubs, you know, break it down so as much as they did? And I thought that the Contreras signing was good. I mean, the Cardinals needed a catcher, and he's a good, you know, at least he's a good hitter anyway. And I didn't think he was a disaster as a defender, but I don't watch the Cubs that much, you know. So
Yadier Molina was a generational talented catcher. You can't replace that.
That
no,
was part of the story in the article was that they didn't have to pay attention to the catcher position. He did all the prelim work with the pitchers before the game. They had a set plan, and I don't think Contreras really does that.
No.
it's ironic that his brother, William Contreras, who was thought of
Yeah.
as not a good enough catcher, I guess, for the Braves, they wanted Sean Murphy instead. And I haven't looked at the numbers myself, so this could just be narrative stuff. But supposedly he's doing fine. You know, like
I
he's and you know he's a good hitter.
I think he can be every bit as a good a hitter as Wilson, but I think he can be even better a catcher than Wilson. So
I
I
think
think
he's a
he's going to be the
better
better
hitter
of the
than
two.
Wilson.
Yeah, I think he can be a better player than Wilson Contreras.
Yes.
You know, just by like his fielding going along with his hitting. You know, he might not hit as many home runs as Wilson, but he might.
Oh, I think he'll hit more home runs than Wilson.
Yeah, well, they're both about the same size and stuff. It really depends, but
But
I
you
just
said
think he's that much better a catcher than
but
his brother.
you
I
said to
don't
me
think,
when I brought up Wilson Contreras, you said to me something that was good, and I said like I no, I don't. Like you know, you said that you know David Ross is a catcher, and he would know you know a good catcher or a bad
yeah.
catcher. And I was like,
Okay,
well,
so
you're right. Yeah, he
if
definitely would
David
know more
Ross
than I.
didn't go to bat to keep him around, what does that tell you? And
Right.
David Ross is a catcher's catcher, you know?
He wasn't in the
So,
majors for his bat, that's for sure.
yeah.
Well, and I don't know. There's rumors out there that Wilson is not liked amongst the rest of the league. There's a reason he got drilled 9,000 times by the Brewers.
I've seen a lot of those too. I was like, really?
I don't think he's well liked amongst other players.
Well,
Yeah, well, he's a catcher, man. He sits there, he sees every player, and he probably chirps in their ear,
Well,
and he
he could
annoys
be
the
AJ
shit out of
Brzezinski,
them.
be an agitator, but you know what? You're going to take your lumps. You're going to get drilled.
Absolutely. So what was Rizzo's deal? Rizzo used to be the guy who used to get flunked all the time. I guess he would do it at first base.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Hey, let's see the pictures.
Yeah, let's see. I just want to see. So that's the only sombrero up here. Satch has got Matt Olson, Paul Goldschmidt, Rafael Devers, the usual suspects there. Knockers have a Rosarena, Matt Chapman, who's off to a good start. He fell a little bit here.
Last week I had 3, and now I got 1. Bad week.
Gags have Stemini and Yandi. Dads have Adolis. And, oh, yeah. I thought you had another one. And Bake's got Bellinger. That's nice.
I was 1 year late on Bellinger.
I was trying to trade for Bellinger in the offseason, but he didn't have it. I was like, I said, what do you want for Bellinger? And he's like, I'll get back with you. Never did.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get it.
Satch also has Sean Murphy. I don't know if I said that. And, Cows have Bichette. Bake's got Wander.
Did you see that play he did at short?
Wander?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
He took like a one hopper at short, flipped it up out of his glove into his hand, like hot dogging it.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. It was, yeah. And they were saying, like, okay, you made the play, so it's fine. But if you hot dogged it and you missed it, that's
you would have looked like the biggest.
Oh, I mean, he completely hot dogged that.
When you're good, I guess.
He came up real young too, right? I don't know how old he is.
Yeah.
Now, Oh God, he's 23. I can look it up.
He's got Verdugo and James Outman just made it here over that's Spears guy, right? James Outman. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yep. And Mike Trout just below Zadi. Okay, I'll stop the hitters. We'll put the pitchers up. Let's see.
Hunter Franco is 22 years old and 68 days. He's a baby. He debuted at 20 years old and 113 days.
I mean, he's not 22 yet?
Well, Doug had him.
Wow.
No, he's not. Yeah, he's just over 22. He's.
Oh,
it's going to be a while. Maybe he'll start to every year he starts the year. It's a different age because it's always March 1st is his birthday. So he turns another year every spring training. So this year is his year 22. Next year will be 23. Easy.
Right, you see the pitchers here. Cole still on top, although he had the rough outing. And then
Justin Steele, man.
Steele.
The man of steel. I am so pissed off at Yahoo for fucking me over on that one.
I underestimated Justin Steele. I remember thinking that I like what the Cubs did with their hitters, in the offseason, but I didn't think they would have enough starting pitching.
Justin Steele is solid.
They're better than I thought.
Yeah.
So let's see. Hack has we know Hack's pitching is pretty good. He's got Cole and it looks like he used to have somebody else up here. I don't know, he dropped off. Daddies have Justin Steele. Anybody else? You got Zach Gallen.
Yep, I got your Shohei Ohtani down there too.
Shohei, yeah.
You know what? You want to hear something fucked up? I sent a really bad trade request over to John Kimmler. It was terrible. I don't know if I was just throwing pickles at the window at a White Castle, but I actually offered him Nate Lowe and Josh Rojas for Shohei Ohtani the batter. That's terrible.
Is Lowe off to a good start at least?
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's like 53.
Well, we got Bake's.
I was giving him a 2-for-1.
Bake's got McClanahan.
Here's the thing, though. Ohtani only qualifies as utility. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him guys that can play multiple positions for somebody who can only play utility. And then I'm taking a chance, though, too. If Ohtani ever goes down, I lose 2 players and not 1 because they have the pitcher.
I think that'll always keep Ohtani's hitting salary, a couple bucks lower than it would be, right? Because there's people like me that kind of shy away from having a just utility guy.
Yeah, to be honest with you, yeah, that's true. But you know what? If you're gonna just plug and play him there, and he's putting up the numbers and stuff, and if he never gets hurt, and you just set him and forget him,
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't be all black and white. If he's going for, a tiny amount, you gotta at least throw a bid in there. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Bake's got McClanahan, and he also has that Bryce Elder guy who is for the Braves. Okay, so at least I guessed it. I vaguely remembered that, but
That McClanahan one was a tough one when Dougie said match at any cost. It doesn't matter how how high we would have gone on that. He would have, and he had a lot of money left over, so he would have been able to afford him. But it's just like, holy shit! All right, well, we can get McClanahan.
he had that Guerrero bid, and well, I guess we figured that he wouldn't have been able to get McClanahan because he needed to have a dollar left for each position, so you couldn't just say how much money he had left over. But
Dude, Bryce Elder has fucking started 7 games, and
he's
he's on
actually
Atlanta.
he's in the Mets division, and I really wasn't nearly 100% sure that he was on the Braves. But
He's been playing since the beginning of the year.
yeah, I'm
You know, it's
saying I
interesting
should
is
know
Ian
that because
Anderson
he's a
went down
Brave.
with Ian Anderson went down with Tommy John. Go figure that. Everybody was wondering why the fuck did he suck so bad after that good year. His fucking shit was fucked up.
I just thought it was because he's a pitcher.
Yeah, that's true too. But dude, Atlanta, I don't understand how they're so good at pumping out pitchers, man. They are so good at it. I mean, who Spencer Strider, fucking Elder, Freed, I mean, a lot of good pitchers coming out of there.
Freed's not on here, huh?
No, he's not because he's been hurt.
Oh, okay.
I do have a Clayton Kershaw story. It'll be quick.
Okay.
Awesome.
Doesn't have to be quick.
I think that he might have been the number one pick in the draft. Anyway, I went and saw him play in the Midwest League All-Star game that was in Kane County. He
Oh,
was the starting
okay. I've
pitcher.
been to that ballpark. Fucking great
He was
ballpark.
Yeah. Well, they're no longer affiliated. They got ixnayed when they revamped the minor leagues this past year. But whatever. I had a contact for that All-Star game. He put me in this front row behind home plate. I was sitting around all scouts. They all had their radar guns out. He threw a first pitch cookie, 91 miles an hour. It was a left-handed batter, and he jacked it out. And Kershaw has probably only given up like 10, 12, 15 homers to a left-handed hitter in his career.
Okay.
The next pitch was 99. He threw a 91 mile an hour fastball to get over. The guy jacked it out. He got pissed off. But I mean, I follow the minor leagues, and I was like, I want to go see this guy pitch.
Hey, here's my question. Who was the guy that hit the ball out of the park?
I have no idea. I don't think he.
That would be a good that would
His
be good
name
to
was Joe Schlabotnik,
know. Joe Schlabotnik.
Charlie Brown's favorite baseball player. I don't know if you remember. Oh,
But he tried to throw a cookie over, and the guy jacked it out, and then he got pissed off, and the next one was 99. And the scout showed me the radar gun, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that bugged him.
Sean played on a high school team with this pitcher that was in the Giants organization named Rick Heisman.
Yep.
His career was derailed by injury, and I guess that probably happens so many times that you never hear of it because we were following him because Sean knew him, and I should let you tell the story. We used to. I mean, he was putting up ungodly numbers. It was like a strikeout and a half an inning. This is
Yeah,
back
for the Giants.
Yeah, this is back when you didn't see that. Maybe you see it a little bit more now because this is like early '90s, right? Late '80s, early '90s.
Well, he threw like 88 when I played with him. He went to college, and all of a sudden he's throwing 95. And 95 back in 1991 was like throwing gas.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
now
we didn't
people
have all
throw
the 100
100.
mile an hour pitchers back in those days.
But I mean, he was a starting pitcher. I mean, those numbers he put up in San Jose for I think it was their single A team. I mean, they were outrageous. I went and met him. He got into the major leagues. He pitched for the Royals.
Yeah, I remember that. But he just did like middle relief, right? He wasn't
Yeah.
a starter. Yeah.
I mean, he blew out his arm.
Who was the other pitcher that he did make the majors? Torres or something? There was another guy that like was putting up big numbers for in the minors back then. Do you remember? I remember following both those guys. But he made the majors too. But he didn't. I don't know what happened with him if he had arm trouble too. But there's a lot of talented guys that no one's ever going to hear of because they can't stay healthy. That's the miracle of
Yeah.
these guys that come up and pitch for years and years and years. I mean, like a Kershaw. I mean, it's the exception, obviously, not the rule. It's just there's a lot of talented guys that are probably threw just as hard, had just as many strikeouts at one point, in the lower minors, but they don't stay healthy or they just can't make the next level. Maybe they don't get their
I
command
remember
control.
taking Mariano Rivera his rookie year. He was supposed to be a starter.
Yep, he was. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And then I don't know.
Was
I
it
don't remember if I
94,
dropped him or
95?
whatever, but he was like a middle reliever his first year.
Yeah, if you're a scout, somebody like Mariano's not going to be too exciting, right? He was like throwing, I don't know, 89. I don't know. I just saw some of the like the Jeter special. They talked about the scouting Mariano.
I'll tell you what, man. As far as closers go, he was one of the most consistent guys out there. I mean, I don't remember him having a whole lot of stretches where he just like shit the bed, you know?
Yeah, I remember the Mets got to him in a what are the city game,
Yeah, he'd have one every once in a while and stuff,
yeah.
but he was a
That
pretty
was like a big
consistent
deal
closer.
because he blew the save and the Mets it's one, but
Well, that's because nobody blew saves against that guy, so that makes it a big deal. Speaking of the Mets, how you like having Verlander and Scherzer back?
well, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. It's hard for me because that's not the way I would have gone in constructing the team. I understand why he did it because the Mets really don't have anybody to bring up from the minors. So if
Yeah.
this is a short-term strategy, which he says it is, hopefully it doesn't turn into a long-term strategy because they need it to go longer than these next couple of years. But I don't like. It's not surprising that you have like Scherzer might go on the IL again. He's saying he's trying his hardest. He doesn't want to. He's trying his hardest not to go on the IL.
Oh shit. So
But it's
he's
not like
coming back too quick, is what you're saying?
it's not like the Mets can be like, man, all the luck. I mean, it's like, well, no, it's all built in. This is why other teams didn't pay, pitchers combined age, 80 years old, $90 million this year. It's just.
But here's the thing: if you were the Detroit Tigers and you had to do it all over again, would you have cut bait with Verlander when you did?
Verlander,
Yeah.
I'd say actually, uh, this is well, I'm not a GM, but I was on board for both of those. I thought Verlander was done, or close to, or definitely past his prime.
Well, he's
And
just going
Scherzer,
for his first Tommy John, basically.
I thought they gave him a fair deal. What was it, 144, something like that? He turned down, and kudos to him. He turned down, and he was worth he was worth every penny that the Nationals gave him. That's one of the best pitching free agent signings ever, right? I mean, holy
Well,
cow!
did the Washington Nationals win a World Series?
19, yeah,
Did they really? Was it
yeah.
19?
It wasn't
God
that
damn it,
long
it
ago.
was, wasn't it?
That's when they signed Strasburg. After that year, they
Yeah,
gave him 245 million or something.
Strasburg has been an abomination as far as like, trying to stay healthy and
well,
shit.
he got screwed that one year. They shut him down when they should have pitched him. But
That
then
leads me.
he busted his ass to win that World Series, and his career's now done.
Yeah,
That
I think
leads
they
me
gave
to a
him
little. Go ahead.
7,245. I think they gave. It's still like a few years left in that deal. I mean, it's just that's more than anything probably why they let Soda go because they figured there's no way we're going to be able to do anything as long as Strasburg's on the payroll.
Hey, this leads me to a little segue here where we go into injuries and moves.
All right,
So
I'll get rid of this. I'll get rid of this screen. I just wanted to say, Eduardo Rodriguez for Spear, amazing. He pitched against the Mets. I think it was like a shutout, wasn't it? It was. Oh God, the Mets are so bad right now. Kershaw for the Cows, and Nate Eovaldi and Sonny
Yeah,
Gray.
Rodriguez with 44 innings pitched and only 27 hits.
Yeah,
pretty damn good.
I had him 2 years ago.
He's only got 8 walks on top of it and 39 strikeouts.
If Phil was here, I'm sure he'd say that his FIP is 2 runs higher than John. So
It's so hard to tell with pitchers anymore, man. I swear to God, you got these younger guys that they were like all the rage 3 years ago, and then they went through some Tommy John shit, and all of a sudden, like 2 years out of Tommy John, now they're fucking popping, like going crazy, or it's just weird. Like Eduardo Rodriguez is one of those guys that's always been hurt, and didn't he?
Yep.
Did he have Tommy John or no?
I don't remember.
No, he had some illness.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you start to forget about these guys, and then you kind of think they didn't pitch well before they went into that or whatever, and it's just
Last
like
year he
all of a
left the
sudden, boom.
team. Last year he left the team. I think it was a personal matter, right? Family matter, and they didn't even know. They didn't even have contact with him for a while. It was a
Well, that was when he was
complete
with Boston.
disaster.
Yeah, that was Boston last year, I think.
No, it was Boston. Then he signed with the Tigers. The Tigers signed him before last season, before 2022.
So he was
This year
with
was a
Tigers last
disaster.
year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a disaster. He left the team. They didn't know where he was. They didn't know what was going on with him. But now he's back and he's pitching great so far. All right, I'll get out of the screen. I just want to say, here's Strider for Satch and Frember Valdez for the Cows with Kershaw. And the Cows have been having very good pitching, and they're not doing well. So their hitting is subpar, right? Because I don't know. I won't go back there, but
All right. Well, let me go into injuries and moves here real quick. About 30 minutes of research that I got about A through Z here. It's actually A through Z, and I quit because why not?
do you mind if I share a
Anyway,
screen while you talk about it?
yeah, we could. I've got a little some other shit we want to talk about on here, but I could share the screen. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, I meant if I could share a screen while you talked about the
I will
injury.
share it. Let's just check that out. See, can everybody see that?
Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah, I said A through Z, right? I wasn't fucking around,
That's practically like 26.
dude. I mean, okay, Franmil Reyes, Franmil Reyes, Franmil Reyes. He's DFA'd from was it Kansas City?
KC? Was it
Yeah,
KC? Yeah.
yeah, they DFA'd him, so we'll see.
That's
We'll
got
see
to
if
feel
he.
bad when KC DFA's you, right? It's like, man,
That's
well,
what I'm saying,
maybe
right?
the A's will pick me up.
We already talked about this. This is Contreras going to the outfield, and I think right now St. Louis regrets signing Contreras. Say that.
Yeah.
Safe to
5
say.
for 90.
Yeah. We got Houston outfielders are coming back. You got Brantley and McCormick both set to get back on the field this week. Jose Suarez from the Los Angeles Angels. He is going to get an MRI on his
Is
shoulder
it
or
Kahada?
elbow, one of the
I mean,
two.
Kahada, was it?
Who?
Isn't it Kahada on the Angels?
Hada.
Quijada?
I think so too. Oh yeah, I think he is.
Oh.
Quijada?
Yeah.
I think he's a reliever though, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he went down too. That's why I'm like, I got Estevez. He's been doing
Right.
his thing.
That was the big drawback to Estevez this year is because like Tejada got a couple early saves, and I had Estevez and I got rid of him because I didn't like that uncertainty. But now it looks like Estevez is home free, and the Angels are going to be well, it's the Angels, but they look like they're going to be okay this year. I think I
Yeah.
had them in that prediction pool. I had them making the playoffs, which you're always uneasy when you're predicting the Angels are going to make the playoffs, right?
Damn right. Revar San Martin left his start, and he's got an elbow issue with Cincinnati. If you've got him, Alex Wood is on a rehab assignment for San Francisco, so he might be back soon. You got Victor Robles. He has gone down for 10 days for back spasms. Laddie Jr. is day to day with wrist soreness, so we'll see how that fucking unfolds. If it doesn't get any better, there's a good chance he might go on the 10-day. Severino is in a rehab start. Oh, Yarborough. Yarborough got hit in the face by a line drive. Not cool. Not cool ever. That always sickens me when I see that.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I didn't see it either, but just
Yeah,
hearing
I
about
didn't.
it and reading about it, I knew exactly what happened. I don't want to see it. Joey Wendell is off the IL. Wow. And guess
Marlins,
what?
right?
Eloy Jimenez is on the IL. This time for appendectomy. Is this
Shocker.
guy just doomed or what?
As Sox fans, does that
All
make
the
you feel?
talent in the world, but can't fucking produce shit because he never stays on the field.
But as Sox fans, does that make you feel better that it's not really a playing kind of injury? It's more just a medical type thing. I mean,
It's just him.
wouldn't it be
I mean, this
worse?
is why I traded him last year.
Wouldn't it be
I
worse if
am
it was
done with it.
an oblique or back injury? Like something. This is like once it happens, it's gone. I know it's terrible because he's been hurt his whole career. But
No, I think Jeff said it last week on this podcast. He is Soler. The dude just
Yeah.
cannot. Whatever it is, whether it's an oblique, it's a hamstring, an appendectomy, the dude can't stay healthy.
He's
If
allergic to
he's
work.
if he stays healthy and plays 150 games, he's going to put up awesome numbers.
Yeah. But he
But
will never do that.
yeah.
There will always be a reason. Always a reason. And now his appendix burst or whatever the fuck. Jesus
Right.
Christ, man. It's like this guy is cursed. Anyway, Garcia's back. Grissom goes down to AAA. Paxton to be activated this week for some of you people that still believe in that dude. Who knows? He might be one of those guys after the rest of the season just lights out. But I'm not banking on it. Will Myers is back.
I think you
Judge
should
could be
bank on
back
it.
on Tuesday.
I think you should drop one of your top starting pitchers and pick up Paxton on a flyer. That's my
Okay.
advice to you, Jeff.
What? Paxton?
Yeah.
Wainwright's back. Luis Garcia just went for Tommy John for
Yeah.
Houston. Tyler O'Neill on the IL with a lower back strain.
I don't think they care about that too much.
Hey, here's what you care about, Matt Harvey. Your old time, your old
Yeah.
boy. He retired. What do you think about that?
He was a comet. It was great. And the Mets were not good then, and it was great while it lasted. We saw my dad and me and Sam and I don't know, it was at least and Henry too. We saw Harvey's last game before he went on the IL. So it was after the All-Star game, and he pitched. It's against the Tigers. My dad's a Tigers fan, so that's why we went down. And he pitched like shit, And well, there was a reason, right? But he came back, pitched great in 2015, and pitched a great game in the World Series. He should have come out of the game. That was, he wanted to stay in the line.
Didn't he get a little too up? Like I don't know, kind of like the baseball version of Aaron Rodgers back in the day.
Well, he had off the field issues, like he didn't show up to the park, on time.
Was it drinking and shit?
Who
No, I
who
think he was
knows?
implicit in that Angels kid dying.
Oh no shit.
Yeah,
I
That's
mean,
not good.
he admitted that he hooked him up with the whatever the guy was taking when he OD'd.
well, he took
Wow.
opiates, right? That's how he died. You're
Yeah,
talking about Skaggs, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, the Angels had that other pitcher that died in the car wreck.
Oh,
Aaron.
that was Aidenhart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick Aidenhart.
yeah.
That was tough. That was a guy. Actually, I think it was one of the first couple years I was in the league. I actually drafted him, or I picked him up. But yeah, tough.
Did you also have Jose Fernandez? I think you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I had Jose
Did you have
Fernandez.
Oscar Taveras? I'm gonna start
I did not
warning
have
these
Oscar
players.
Taveras. That had DC had Oscar Taveras. I had Giordano. Not
Ventura?
The Royals
No,
guy.
Ventura.
yeah, I had him. He died. Well, anyway, I don't want to be the Grim Reaper of baseball, guys.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Hey, Matt Mervis got called up, and Gloss now is headed for a rehab start. And like we talked about before, Verlander and Scherzer are back. Kyle Wright, Atlanta ends up on the 15-day. He's got a sore shoulder. That doesn't sound good. That could be a lot longer than 15 days. You notice he didn't put him on the 10-day, but I don't know if there's like a 10-day for like position players, 15-day
Oh,
pitchers, but whatever. Espino undergoes shoulder surgery. He's a
yeah,
Cleveland's number 1 prospect.
yeah. Daniel Spino.
And then Robbie Ray undergoes TJ too. So he's done for a while. That is it for injuries and moves.
Hey, Sean,
I,
your Sooners hat. Is that just a hat, or are you a fan?
You know, a football fan of Oklahoma.
Why is that?
Uh,
did you
I
go to
actually
Oklahoma?
I did not. I played quarterback in high school, and they ran the wishbone,
Okay.
which is what we ran in high school. That was the first team that I ever saw play that offense.
Okay.
Like, because back in the day, you didn't have ESPN and all that stuff, so you saw the NFL. No one runs the wishbone in the NFL.
But then Notre Dame used to run a wishbone, and so did Chicago Bears too.
Well,
He's
maybe
not.
back.
He's not that old though.
Like back in the day. I mean, I'm talking like 60s, 50s.
Sean's like 80s.
The
He's
only
he's your
wishbone I
he's
know
your
comes in
age.
a salad jar.
Well, my dad was a Raiders fan. So, like, whatever. I only watch pro football. And the first game I ever saw in college that ran our offense was Oklahoma. So they became my team.
Oh, that's cool.
And I actually like I know this might sound weird, but because my girls don't play it, I have 3 daughters. They don't play softball, but Oklahoma's softball program is awesome.
Really.
It's fun to watch,
I
actually.
I watch. When I don't sit out to
I
watch
do
it,
like
but
watching like the softball World Series when they have that on
Yeah.
H on
Yeah, I don't watch
ESPN.
the regular season stuff, but yeah, the World Series, yeah,
Dude, those girls can bring it. I mean,
yeah,
that fucking ball is coming in at light speed. I mean,
well, that's what I mean. Like
yeah,
I do watch the regular season, just like I don't DVR it or whatever. But I mean, like if I'm flipping, I watch it and I'm always entertained by it. I mean, I'm just like the pictures are amazing, but to be able to hit that kind
yes,
of
because they're
speed
like,
and they're not 60 feet 6 inches away, right? What are they like
oh, it's closer,
36?
and
I don't know.
they're still throwing it at like 80, but when it's coming in,
yeah,
it's
they say
feeling
it's
like
the
100 because
equivalent
they're
to
so
a,
short.
they say it's the equivalent to like a 95-mile-an-hour
Yeah.
pitch for
Yeah,
the major league.
So
Absolutely.
And the fielding, it has to be flawless. Are the bases 60 feet?
No, they're
65?
shorter.
Was it?
I'm not sure the exact measurements, but it's shorter.
I
But
would
I
say
mean,
probably between 60 and 90,
if you
somewhere in that
bobble
range.
the exchange, forget it. They're saying, I mean, it's like you have to be flawless. So I enjoy watching the game because it's, they're good.
I tried to get my girls to play it, but they're not. They're into everything else.
You're not going to see the Wander Franco flip
Nope.
in one of their plays, to be like, say
Nope.
it.
Hey, we were talking before about the Cardinals giving away a bunch of great players and shit like that and sucking right now. So there's a guy in the minor leagues with the Springfield Cardinals. Are they a triple A, single A, double A? You know anybody you guys know? I have to look it up anyway. So this guy Chandler Redmond, he's a
Last
first
name?
baseman. He's about 230 pounds.
What's the last
Plays for
name?
the Spring. For what?
What's the last name?
Chandler Redmond.
Redmond?
Yeah,
Redmond or okay.
Redmond. Redmond. But he plays for the Springfield Cardinals. And this last week, he hit the home run cycle. You know what that is?
Yeah, I can guess what it is.
That's
It's
four home
amazing.
runs, a solo, a 2-run, a 3-run, and a grand slam all in the same game.
Did he do it in the same inning though?
No, fuck no.
Well,
Who would do
then it's
that?
not
I mean, it's
impressive.
like even Todd Peace on steroids couldn't do that shit. Um, God damn it, that Japanese guy from Boston, he damn near did it.
From Boston.
Oh, that was that new kid, that new guy that's on the team on Boston right now. What's his name? Yoshida? I think it's Yoshida.
Masataka? Yoshida?
Yeah, that guy's good. He's bringing it. Like that guy. Seems like he's an all-around hitter, man. I mean, he hits with power. He hits with average. I mean, let's look at his average here
This is
right now.
probably about the time when the Red Sox regret that they didn't keep like Evaldi or something, like because they're like, geez, we have a chance here, if the
Masataka Yoshida. He is basically 112 at bats, 36 hits, 6 home runs. He's batting 321, 22 runs, 24 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, on base percentage of 403, slugging 536, OPS in 939. What a debut from across the pond, Masataka Yoshida. What
we're
a
about
what a player.
21% of the way through the season, so you can multiply these numbers by a little less than five.
It could go up, it could go down. I mean, he could really have a fucking shitstorm in the middle of it all. But what a start to your career in the major leagues, man. I mean, that's good numbers. That's real good numbers.
Seiya started off real hot last year and he slowed down.
No, he got Seiya got hurt. He's one of those guys that's going to be like he's going to be the Japanese Eloy Jimenez.
But I like him too. I don't know.
I hope he's not. But no, I think Jesus Christ, he's been hurt a lot. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's.
Anybody else
I
gonna
thought
say anything?
no. I thought that he would be that last year.
Yeah, but he
Suzuki.
was hurt most of the year.
Yeah, I know.
And then he started the year hurt this year. So I'm like, okay, are we going to be going through this shit every year? I get leery about this. These guys that linger on the DL. Ugh,
But
gun shy, man.
the White Sox have been playing better since we talked last, right? I mean, are you buying it?
Yeah, I
They
think
don't
you
have
know what.
Eloy
I
now,
think I think their manager probably took that viral call into the ESPN. I think he took that in there and showed those players during a team meeting or something. Because man, they got fired up all of a sudden.
I'm
Grandal's
not
been
buying it at all.
Grandal's been playing well. I mean, last year was a disaster, and he's been playing well this year. He's been on my bench most of the time, but I should have had him up. But
I'm trying to figure out what to do with fucking Danny Jansen. It's like fuck. I mean, if I don't play him, he hits a home run. If I do play him, he hits nothing. I'm trying to fucking mix things in with Langoliers and Contreras and shit, but it's like it seems like Langoliers and Contreras are always in. I don't know.
My final, if I'm having trouble deciding on a roster, just to put a guy up or not, I go like, what would piss me off more? That I put him up and he does nothing, or if I leave him down and he does great. And it's always the second one. So I usually put the guy up if there's a doubt, I mean, because I'd be more pissed like missing on to the points than if I put him up and he gets zero. So
Yeah. My whole thing is like as long as I put him up to get the points, I don't want Yahoo taking him right back off my board to not get the points. That happened this week. We talked about this. I'm still salty. Sean, you have a epiphany for younger players.
an
You
affinity.
like to go younger.
Yep. Don't make it dirty.
No, I'm not trying to make
No, I know, I
no,
know.
no, 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 not at all.
What
No, no,
did you
no.
think? What did you think about? We were talking about the Cardinals. What did you think about them with Jordan Walker? He starts off hot, and then he has like a
He got
slow
like
week,
what
and
he
then they
got like
send him down.
12 games in a row. He got like hits in, or 11 games in a row. He got hits in, and then they sent him down.
You
What
know,
a
he's slow.
fucking kick in the nuts.
He had like a slow week, and they send him down. I was like, generally, what you want to do with the young player, most teams would be, we want to bring this guy up when we're sure he's ready, and we don't want to send him down unless it's absolutely necessary. And it wasn't at the absolutely necessary stage yet, right? Is there stuff going on with him that I didn't realize? I mean,
I don't have any inside knowledge on it or anything, but I think he tore it up last year. He tore it up in spring. He started off hot. I think that the league kind of figured out we just need to pitch him down in a way. And so they're sending him down to work on that instead of sitting him maybe 2 or 3 times a week. No, just go play 7 days a week in the minor leagues because you don't want to bring up a young kid because he's like 21.
but why'd they bring him in the first place then? They have a
Well,
lot of
because he was
outfielders.
tearing it up. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I
Isn't
don't
the
know. Think
isn't
of Chris Bryant when he tore it up in the minor leagues and tore it up in spring training, and then he sent them down to manipulate the time.
Yep. That changed a lot
yeah,
of shit right
yeah.
there.
Well, they don't have to do that anymore. So
Right.
just send them down instead of setting them on the bench twice a week. Let them go play every day and figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, all he has to figure out is to lay off the low outside pitch, right?
Yeah, well, I that's easier said than
But
done.
I mean, you
You
could
know what,
work
to
on
be
it.
honest with you, I gotta be honest with you right now. I think the fucking major league roster should be up to 30 players. I mean, to be honest, you gotta give a couple extra pitches in there so you're not blowing arms out. Look at this. Look at how many pitchers are going to Tommy John. You know what I mean? Look how many pitchers are getting injured from overthrowing and shit like that.
That could be a
So
good
why couldn't you
bargaining
have like a
chip.
30-man roster where you can carry 16 pitchers and 14 hitters or 15 and 15?
Well, they won't
It's
go up
just
that far,
but
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 maybe
it's the ownership don't want to fucking have that many guys on the major
right.
league
I mean, well,
roster.
it's not the Mets who would care or the Yankees. It'd be like the A's would care. But they wouldn't go up to 30, but could they go up to 28, 14, and 14? You know, but to the A's, that's like that's increasing
I
their
just think
salary
that
by
would
they're paying a lot of the guys the minimum already. So,
I just think it would prevent a lot on injuries and stuff like that if you had a few extra people that could sub in, you know, rather than overloading somebody or, throwing somebody too hard. A
the
lot of
next
those relief pitchers, I mean, shit, they're throwing every day or every other day. I mean, if they're good,
the next
I mean,
CBA that could be a good bargaining chip. From the
yeah.
owners. I mean, because the union would love to have two more spots.
I
That's why
mean,
they love the
I
DH.
mean, you look at football, they got 55 on their fucking roster for that fucking matter. 53, I think it is.
Yeah,
53.
it's a ton.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like baseball at 30, this big deal. I mean, you can still fill the roster with like, four guys that are at the league minimum. I mean, just solid ball players, maybe four A players. This is backup in case you run into fucking issues.
Especially now, you could have a spot that would be your pinch runner guy. You know, the Mets have that. I'm probably not going to think of his name because I can't think of these names. Fast guy, you know, fifth, sixth outfielder guy.
Like your
I think
Hamilton
Billy
type
Hamilton.
guy,
Yeah, but
Billy Hamilton.
Well, he's
He
not on the
can't
Mets.
really, he can't hit, can't field, but he
LeCastro,
can
But he could
run.
be a pinch runner.
Tim
Yeah.
LeCastro. That's who I'm thinking of. You know, but you would if you have 28, you've got 14 hitters. You could have LeCastro on your team. You know,
Yeah.
Who was the guy on the
Well,
A's
Castro
way
can
back
actually
in the
hit
day?
though.
who's the guy in the A's? What?
Way back in the day, like the 70s.
Oh, the 70s. Jeez, oh, geez,
Oh, to be McDowell?
Wow.
There's a
He
random.
was like strictly a pinch runner.
Oh God. There's a few of those back in the day. You know who'd know? Larkin would know.
Who's the guy in recent times? The Mets had him, I think, last year. He can't hit. He's like Billy
Dyson.
Hamilton. Who?
Dyson.
No.
Rod Dyson or whatever is like that guy from Kansas
No, I'm
City.
not thinking of him though. Oh shoot, I can't think of it.
All right.
Brain
Here's the time of the show where I'm going to allow you to have a personal
Herb
conversation with Sean.
Washington. Herb
Herb
Washington.
I
I'm
remember
telling
him.
you, he was like the most elite pinch runner ever. All
I
right.
was about to say, here's the time of the show. I'm going to allow you guys to have your one-on-one right now with the crowd. So I'm going to go have a smoke and let the dog go out, and I'll be right back.
Okay,
All
we'll
right.
talk about you.
Good talk about me. I'm just going to find out later.
Terrence Gore. That's who I was thinking of.
Terrence Gore.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
he was on the Royals.
Yeah, he was on the Mets last year, I think.
Oh,
But you know, guys like that. I mean, I don't know. I didn't remember it. I looked it up. So.
well, I had to look up Herb Washington.
Well, yours is from the 70s, though, so that's forgivable, right? But yeah, I had that a few weeks ago. I couldn't think of Ronnie Mauricio, you know, the guy that's tearing it up in the minors, and the Mets don't have a position for him. I was thinking because O'Neill Cruz was out, they could trade him to the Pirates. But I was trying to get Bednar from the Pirates, and the Pirates actually got off to a good start. So they don't want to sell. You know, good luck selling that to the fan base. Like, yeah, we're 20-10, and we just traded Bednar closer. You know, so like they can't even do it. If they were 10-20, that deal would be more likely to happen, right?
Who's playing second? Is it McNeil?
For the Mets, yeah, McNeil, Guillorme. Yeah, that's usually. But McNeil's, you know, McNeil can play the outfield.
Yeah,
pretty well. You know, he's not bad, left and right. So,
I mean, they can bring him up and shuffle it around. McNeil could be this year's version of Zobrist, or whatever.
He is sort of like that because he's good at the position.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's much above average, but he's certainly not below average. Even in the outfield, he's good. You know, I love him. I love McNeil. How could you not love him? You know, I mean, that's the kind of guy I like. That So
I wanted the Sox to try to get him.
Yeah, I mean, there's players in the Mets that I love, but there's just the roster construction is just not the way I would have done it. You know, bringing those old guys in, and I know he's got all the money in the world, and it doesn't. Even if he wastes $1 billion on salary, like it doesn't really matter. You know, he's talking about putting a retractable roof on City Field. You know, it'd be like $800 million. So then he might do it. Who knows? I mean, you know, when you have 14, 17 billion, I think he has, it's just that's why he scares the crap out of the other owners. It's like, he's not just like a little very rich, he's like only like Bill Gates and those guys could laugh at him,
I don't remember if I read it somewhere or if it was on the podcast last week. Jerry Reinsdorf hates him.
Hates Cohen.
Yes.
Yeah.
there was an article out this week. He goes, well, if some owner wants to go pay $40 million for a second baseman that bats 202, I have to end up matching that. Well, you know what? That's too fucking bad.
When has he ever matched anything?
Well, he hasn't. But like, stop. Just sell the fucking team.
You see what this is?
Blue
Is it
Label?
backwards for you? No. This is Johnny Walker Blue. I was too cheap to buy a bottle. This is like, I bought this like 10 years ago, probably. And it's just been sitting in my drawer. So I'm going to drink some tonight. But I'm pouring it on ice, which is like, that's like, you're not even, you're not supposed to, this is supposed to be served neat, like no ice. But I'm far from a connoisseur,
I was going to say, I don't really, I mean, is that the high end one?
Yeah. See, I only
There's
bought
like
it because
red, blue, black.
yeah, they had, well, red is like for mixed drinks, and black is people's favorite. Like that's my dad's favorite. He's not a drinker, but he does like that. And blue is the really expensive one. But I wouldn't pay for a giant. They only sell it in the big size, and it's like $200. Might even be more now. But they had this 10 years ago. They had this sample size. They had 4 different Johnny Walkers, and blue was one of them. And I said, "How much is that for?" And I think it was for $50 or $75. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So it's a small bottle, but I was just curious. Like,
Hey, I heard a story this week that kind of disturbing, but it makes a whole lot of sense. So I saw this podcast with Will Clark on it. I don't know if you guys have seen it too, but
Will the
basically,
Thrill.
Will Clark was talking about. God damn it! I just spilled my drink. Anyway, Will Clark was talking about Angel Hernandez back in the day, and Angel Hernandez has been in the league a long time. So Will
he's
Clark, he was younger. He's batting, ball outside. Angel rings him up for a strike. He's like, that's a little outside. He looks back at Angel. He's like, is that as far outside as you're going to let him go? He goes, yeah. Next pitch comes in. It's even farther outside. He fucking rings him up, strikeout. He's like, I thought you told me, And he's just like, well, it moved on me, man. So he just bit his tongue, went back to the dugout, took a strikeout like a man, and fucking just said, fuck it. Well, he sees fucking Angel Hernandez out. He didn't know if he was with the rest of the umpire crew or who he was with, but he's over there hanging out the same place they're hanging out. He sees him over there at the bar. So he's like, hey, he goes to the waitress. He's like, hey, I want to buy their drinks tonight. So just whatever they drink, I've got it. And so she goes over and tells him that, and he looks over, and then he walks over and says, hey, how you guys doing? He goes, I got your drinks tonight. You guys have a good time. I'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow. And Angel Hernandez looks at him. He's like, you have anything else to say? He's like, no. He goes, I'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow. So he goes to the ballpark tomorrow. He says, after that, his strike zone was like this. He's like, Angel Hernandez was like, hey, yeah, thanks for the drinks, man. I appreciate that. And then his strike zone became so much smaller.
he's
He could
recognized as the worst umpire out there, and I don't know.
He is shit. And
It's like trying
that
to
right there, that story right there tells me why he's shit. Because he isn't subjective to anything. He just, whoever treats him right, he's going to treat them right.
They must
If
have
you're
like
a
a
polite
10.
player and you take his bullshit, he's going to give you fucking something in return. It just fucking reeks of fucking
It's
bullshit.
like the umpires have like tenure or something, because like he
Yeah.
is all the metrics, like he's terrible, and he
Yep.
still has a job.
Terrible. I got to get a rag because I got to.
And he's not even a well-behaved guy. Like he'll escalate situations too. Like he's just absolutely wrong
Well,
type
it's
of
like
person to be an
him.
umpire. He's not competent, and he's also doesn't have the personality that you would need, to de-escalate situations.
There's two umpires out there that I think are just absolute dog shit. And one is Angel Hernandez for one, because he makes it about himself. And the more you buck him, the more he's going to buck back and make it about himself. And then the other one is CB Buckner sucks. He's got the worst strike zone I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
I think we just saw him, the Mets, last week or so. Anyway, yeah, I remember.
Terrible. He's terrible.
I don't know why they were talking about this in the Mets
Who's the guy
broadcast, but
that sings country songs? The
Go
umpire.
West.
Yeah,
He retired though, so he's like out of
all
the
right.
equation.
Because
I
he
gotta
was
get some ice.
fucking horrible.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
the Mets broadcast, they were wondering, why don't you have specialists? Why does everybody have to take a turn behind the plate if they suck at it? Why don't you just have the guy that has the highest rank, or maybe two of the four guys in the crew could alternate or something. If you get burnt out, I have no idea, but they each take a turn, and some of them are terrible. And now we have the metrics to like prove it, basically. And I'm sure Angel Hernandez was against that kind of stuff. Oh man, now there's documented proof that I suck. So.
Hey, so anyway, I was telling you about this. Oh, I told you about the guy that hit the home run for a cycle. Has that ever been done? Have you ever heard of anybody hitting the home run cycle before?
I have
Maybe,
not.
but I can't recall. I don't know who it was or anything like that, so I'm not sure. I mean, there's not been many games in the majors where a guy had four homers in a game. So
Right. That's what I'm talking about. But to do like what he did was a solo, a 2-run, a 3-run, and a grand
yeah.
slam in the same game.
Now, did he do
How,
it in
what are
order
the
though?
odds of that? I
Did he
mean,
do it in
it's just
order?
no, it was way out of order. I think he went like
Because isn't that like the
two
perfect
run home
cycle?
run, solo shot, 3-run home run, grand slam, or some shit like
There's
that. It
been
was
guys
like
that have done the cycle, like single, double, triple homer, right? So that's like, well, I don't know what they call it, perfect cycle. I don't know.
it's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. So Vita Blue died.
Yeah,
The one thing I remember about Vita Blue is like he was the only player in the league back when I was really into baseball cards and stuff like that. And it's like the back of his jerseys just said Vita. And I was the first player that like did that. And it was just like so kind of cool.
it means life,
Oh
Spanish,
my
right?
God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just Vita
Wasn't he
Blue.
on coke when he did that perfect game?
No,
No,
you're thinking
was
of
you're
Doc
talking
Ellis.
about the acid for
Oh,
Yeah, Doc Ellis.
Doc Ellis.
oh,
Vita
that's
Vita didn't get into drug trouble until later in his career.
But
all
he was
right.
part of
So
those
I
like those
confused
A's
them.
back in the day when you had Jackson and Sal Bando and Holtzman and you know
Oh,
there was a
it
bunch of
was a
good
great
players on that
team.
team.
I mean, man, that's one of the best teams of all time, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Do you remember, Sean? I don't know if you
Did
were
you
in the
guys
league
watch?
then
Did you guys
when
watch that documentary on Reggie Jackson? By the way.
on Hulu. No, I didn't see it.
Oh God, it's so good. It is really good. I mean, if you don't understand Reggie Jackson, you kind of understand him after it, you know. But anyway, I know that's the way documentaries sometimes are supposed to be like, you know. But anyway,
I always liked Reggie.
I appreciate the documentary. I really liked it.
I always liked Reggie. I like the Nemos and the Jeff McNeils of the world, but I didn't mind. Reggie was so. It was a persona, right? I mean, like Mr. October, right? It was like he was so over the top that I kind of liked it. Plus, he was butting heads with Billy Martin, and I'm sure that sure it wasn't always Reggie's fault, So
Yeah, not completely, but some of it was, and he admits to it.
I was going to ask you, Sean, do you remember that when I don't know if you were in the league then when Doug's team was Doc Ellis and the pinch hitters before he was Bake McBride's. He was Doc Ellis and the pinch hitters for a while. That might have been. I was. You were in the league from the start, and I left for 1 year in '99 or 2000, and Dave Emersky took over commish duties. Did you leave when I left?
I might have.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't remember. We did like a auction or a draft in Arlington Heights. maybe it was Mount Prospect. I don't know who was.
Jeez, I don't even.
I got into a big argument with him about Manny Ramirez.
With me, you used to argue with him, with me about him.
No, I didn't think.
It was back like 90, early 90s, anyways. And I
Yeah,
had said that Manny was going to make the Baseball Hall of Fame someday. And you hated Ramirez, you know? And well, I guess it turned out you were right, but maybe not for the reasons you were thinking. But,
well, yeah.
he was a monster. He was a great player, but, he was a dope,
No, but the
more than one way.
the guy who ran it, I think we were at his house.
Frank, come on.
I don't remember that. Oh, so maybe you were in the league after I left because I don't remember that at all. So that must have been the year that I was not in the league, like 99 or 2000. And then you dropped out after that. I came back in, but then you were you were gone. Yeah, that must have been it because I don't remember that at all. Where the auction was. We started the auction in '97. That was the first year we had the auction, but that was at Wrigleyville Tap.
Why did you leave for a year?
It was weird. I got married and I bought a house, and I thought, I don't know. I just thought, oh, I guess I don't need to do. I did a league, one of those national type leagues where the salary cap league, where you pick who you want, and
Right.
and I thought that would do it for me. I said, oh, I'll just do it like that, and it
Didn't we
didn't
do
do
it
it.
at the Village Tap one time?
We did a football draft there.
Oh,
Bob Meinig ran the football league. We did, yeah, that was a great time. Yeah, we were out in the beer garden, and
yeah.
yeah, I still think about that. That was fun. That was back when I did fantasy football, and I really agonized over my choices. I mean, it like killed me. I couldn't decide, and now I just like I pick the next person on the list. I don't give a crap, and I do just as well by not giving a crap. Anyway, it's because fantasy football is really a lot of luck, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
I think it's like it's the fantasy baseball equivalent of just having a roster full of closers. Like closers is not really scientific, but it's all about the job. And I think
Right.
fantasy football is like that too. Like you're not really going to look at analytics too much with football. I mean, you could a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying you. I'm sure there's guys that dive deep into that atom. But for me, I just like I go whatever, and then you know that's
The
the
way
way.
I run my league is like I got a cheap buy-in, so there's no fighting. It's only $50. And then it doesn't matter what place you fucking go in the year before, the draft is always pulled out of the hat and
No
you know,
retention.
no retention whatsoever.
Yeah,
It's a redo every year.
yeah.
And it's just whatever you do that year, you know.
Who from the beer league is in that league besides Kimmler? Kimmler's still in it,
Uh,
right?
Paul's in it.
Okay.
Um, trying to think. Brandon used to be in the beer league. He's in it, but
I was gonna
uh,
say, wasn't there some drama? I don't want to bring up bad memories.
drama for where?
Steiger, maybe.
Oh no, no. I mean that. Nah. It was one of those things. I never got payment for the year before,
No,
and it's just like
I don't mean to bring up bad.
just not doing it.
I
I
remember
just
there was like a heated moment at the baseball
Oh
thing.
yeah, I sort of remember that too. I think.
it was a culmination of things for Dave. I mean, it's like it wasn't just that, is the thing going on with his troop and all this other shit. And he explained all that to me. We're cool.
Is Steiger not in your league? Because he's actually in my little
He
fantasy
used to no,
football.
he used to be. It just, I mean, working with Germany and this and that, and it's just trying to get funds and all that stuff. It just made more sense
Sorry
back.
to bring it up. I didn't mean to.
I had a lot of people that wanted to get into the league, and it's just like
Including me, and you never let me in, so I had to start my own league again.
because nobody comes out. No, once they get in, they don't want to leave. I need a couple of these fools to jump off, especially the ones that win all the time.
So my league is like the beer leaguers that well, there's people here locally too. I have, but I have Sean, Doug, Steiger, Norm. So we have like beer league guys that can't be in Jeff's league. We're sort of like we're
Well,
like
dude,
relegated.
I don't abide by the whole home field advantage fucking like extra point shit.
Oh, you didn't like that? See, I like that because it makes the
No,
regular season mean something. Because otherwise, if you
it
have
means
18,
nothing. All it
you have
is giving a fake fucking like it's giving a fake advantage.
well, but it's based on the how you did in the regular season. Otherwise, if you finish
No,
eighth or you finish first, it doesn't matter. You know,
that home field advantage extra point shit does not work.
I think it's fine. I don't know,
I don't know. I've never ever been in a league that did that, and it seems senseless to me.
but that's what
You
real
know,
football does, right? They give the team with a better record the home field advantage, and there's a tangible benefit,
no,
2 points or whatever it
the
is.
home field advantage is all crowdsourced. That's what the home field advantage is supposed to be.
And we're trying to simulate
Well,
that
it's no, it's like,
in a
you
fantasy
got the
league.
crowd behind you pumping you up. That's the whole fucking deal of that. But it points out on that. Come on. You
I
already
think
have
it's
half your team is got the home field advantage. Half of them probably don't.
I think it's better. If you're
So,
ten
I
and
mean,
two and you're going to make
it
the playoffs for sure, then what do you give a shit with the last 2 weeks
makes
of the
no
regular
sense to
season being
me. I'm
fast?
just sorry. I'm a old contrarian to the old ways, and I can't get behind the home field advantage
All right,
points.
Sean, you're the tiebreaker. What do you think? What do you think of
Come
that? Oh
on,
no,
Sean,
he's going to
let's
shoot me
hear it,
down.
man. Don't feel pressured or anything. Come on, Sean.
No, I don't think he should get extra points.
Yes.
All right, I lose
It
this
is
one.
what it is. I mean, it's all a crapshoot
Yep.
in fantasy football, so whatever. I mean, if you
Exactly.
want to give someone 1 or 3 points, that's fine. How many games are decided by that? Probably not a lot, but
Yeah, I don't recall one
But
being
when they
decided by that.
are, that really fucking makes people pissed off.
But if you wanted the home field, then you should have done better in the regular season. You know. All right.
You're
Well, I
making it too
lost that one.
complicated, Lou. You're making it too complicated. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
It's just about making the regular season mean something. That's
How
all.
does it make any difference to that? How does it make it mean more?
Because if you have if you had the better record than the team you're facing in the playoffs, then you get the home field advantage. We don't have it in the final game because the Super Bowl is played on a neutral site. So it's just trying to replicate the NFL.
So basically, the only time you do it is in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
First 2 rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's all right.
How about we get to the time where I kicked Kenny Williams' ass?
Yeah, talk
Hey,
about that.
yeah, talk about this. I've been hearing about this shit.
I had
Now,
I had
did
all
you
the
really
details
kick his
wrong. You said
ass, or did
right.
you just?
No, it was
It wasn't Sox Fest, right? I had everything wrong about
no,
it.
it was in Kansas City. I went to Kansas City with a group of guys for like 15 years, and I got a million stories. I'm not going to spill them out today, but that one, I went up, I slapped Kenny on the back of his back,
How
not
hard?
like hard. I just put my hand on his shoulder. I go, that was a I applaud you for getting Ken Griffey Jr. because they won the blackout game in 2008. And that was one of the best games I've ever seen as a Sox fan. I went to the 2005 World Series. That was insane. But whatever. It was before that. I told him that was a great trade. What does the free agent market look like for relief pitchers? And he said, well, if I had a nickel for every time that someone told me that, I'd be a billionaire. And he got pissed off. And I go, fuck you. Well, Greg Walker, who was the hitting coach at the time,
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's ex
he
first
pulled,
baseman.
yeah, he pulled him back. I mean, we were about to get into it. He just pulled him away. I went and sat at the bar with Greg Walker, The bartender pulled out a fifth of Jack Daniels, gave it to Greg Walker, and Greg Walker, I talked with him for 2 hours. He said that Kenny Williams was the worst piece of shit he ever met. I mean,
Well, that's why this fucking team sucks. Because
well,
Kenny
he's still
Walker
on
is
the
the
staff.
fucking he is the common denominator for all the bullshit the White Sox have had over the fucking years. I mean, literally, was he the fucking general manager in 2005? Who was the
He
general
was.
manager? Okay, but how much before 2005 was he?
Yeah, for a few years.
Well,
Three.
I
You got to
can't
give him that.
guarantee that the whole fucking thing in 2005 had everything to do with Kenny Williams. Because I shit you not, he's riding the wave of 2005 and he doesn't give a fuck. But I mean, Reinsdorf's got to fucking get his head out of his ass, man.
Well,
He did
I'll
it with the
give this.
Bulls. He's doing it with the White Sox now. He's
Kenny
just too
Williams
loyal to these guys that have been with him for all this time, never been winners.
Kenny Williams wanted to go leave to be the president of operations for Toronto, and Reinsdorf wouldn't let him leave.
He should
Because
have.
it wasn't a promotion. So he had that. Mm-hmm. He had the right of first refusal or whatever.
So he basically is just basically keeping him there.
Yes.
What do you think? Well, that sounds like some age-old shit.
Well, it's awful.
Yeah. Damn. Let him go.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, right? I mean, should have let him go.
Yeah.
Through Toronto.
Or maybe he's just fucking, if he doesn't want to be there. I mean, it could be like, yeah, fuck it.
If he was calling the shots for a few years before 2005, then you got to give him the credit then.
No, because they had. Well, all right, I'll tell another story. I was on a flight in 2004 with the director of operations for the White Sox. Randomly got sat down next to him on a Southwest flight. And he looked at me. He goes, "You wearing a Sox hat?" Yeah. He goes, "Well, what do you think if we blew this up next year? Because we're thinking about changing stuff up." Well, they traded Carlos Lee, Ordonez. They brought in Pasednik, Carl Everett. I mean, they won the World Series. They hit the gold mine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the immaculate year. That's why they won it. But
it was just from beginning to end, it was just, well, you know what the fucking thing was about that year is that they didn't start off strong. But in May, I think it was May, maybe the end of April, they got in a fucking team fight. They got in a fucking baseball fight with the Tigers.
Oh yeah, with Fisk.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah. I don't know.
The Tigers catcher.
Yeah, but it was, yeah. So they got in a fight with those guys. And then after that, that team gelled, went on and just took the fuck off. And it took a team fight to get those guys bonded together and just get them playing, man. I mean, it was interesting as shit.
But I mean, Kenny Williams is a piece of shit.
you need to make t-shirts.
Well, I went to Kansas City multiple times, and he was there going through a divorce, and that's fine. You're going through a divorce, whatever. He was out in plain public sight with like a 21-year-old chick when he was 40. Hey, good for you. But you can't be doing this. You're the GM of the team and doing it in public sight?
Breaks for second.
What the fuck was that?
think Chris just texted me something.
Whip.
No, it's from you. Oh, it's from Jeff.
Oh yeah, did you see that? Okay, I sent that to both of you. So it's this the catcher throws the ball and the dude's sliding into second base. The ball hits him square in the nuts. But the player's got his mitt out there, so when it hits him in the nuts, it goes right in the guy's mitt, and he tags him before he gets to the base. And not only did he fucking hitting the balls with the ball, he got tagged out.
Is that minors? Is it minor leagues?
No, and it was professional. Take a look
Oh,
at it.
well,
You take a
minors.
look at it and let me know. I also sent that to Larkin too.
What year did Brzezinski get in the fight at home plate with the Cubs?
That was with Michael Barrett.
Yeah.
That had to be 2004, 2005. That year they went to, I think it's the year they went to the fucking, but that was another fucking thing. There's like a lot of, but that was more on Barrett. Barrett was an idiot. Barrett, he was a good player, but he didn't have a long career. And I think he was an asshole, what I think was with Barrett. He didn't last with anybody.
Yeah, Przinski was an agitator too.
Well, he was an agitator, but people liked him on his team.
I
I
Yeah,
don't
loved it.
think
I love
fucking
that.
Barrett's teammates liked him.
I never liked Brzezinski more than I did at that moment. That was
Dude,
great.
that shit he pulled off in the Angels fucking playoff game. Are you kidding me? The fuck? He bedazzled them all, man. It was almost like vampire, like
well, that
enchantment.
was an ex Cub that was catcher, right?
Who was the catcher?
Oh boy.
I can't remember who the catcher
I think
was.
he was like a backup catcher on the Cubs, but he was a starting for the Angels.
Hmm. I can't remember. Wouldn't be Michael Barrett, would it? We'd
No,
know that. We would know that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one to find if you I mean, even through baseball reference. You'd have to go to that year and look at the roster for the year, and then they'd have whoever played and sort of thing.
It was Michael Barrett, right? I mean,
Josh Paul.
Josh Paul.
yeah, I would never have gotten that in a million
Oh
years.
yeah, I would never would have gotten that in a million years either. I don't even remember Josh Paul playing for the Cubs, to be honest with you.
He did play for the Cubs.
I'm sure he did. There's a bunch of guys that played for the Cubs for a minute. Remember Steve Lake?
Name sounds familiar.
Steve Switcher?
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
My parents were Cub fans.
Barry Foote was one of my favorite back in the day. He had a big old paintbrush mustache with his fucking poofy fucking hair coming out the sides of his fucking helmet. And that guy put out a window in the building across in the left field. He put a window out when a home run.
Sean just said his family was Cubs
Yeah,
fans.
he was a
Why
fatty.
were you such a contrarian?
Oh, fucking
Probably
yeah.
just to piss off my parents.
When the bear Sean is also anti-Bears, and when the Bears had their great season and they lost to the Dolphins on Monday night, you wore your Dolphins jersey to school the next day.
I wore it on. It was a Monday night game. I wore it on the day of the game, and I got crap all day long. And I wore it again the next day.
I remember I've seen it too. I believe, unless I'm making this up, but I remember maybe you just told me about it, and I'm just visualizing. But you had a Padres jersey that was number 84, and the name was Remember, and you wore that to Wrigley after 84.
I wore that. I wore that to I don't. Will Clark hit the granny off Maddox.
89, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Angel Hernandez was behind the plate and he had to pigeonhole that pitch.
Or...
I stood up on top of the bar in Molly's. Remember Molly's?
Yeah, where the hell was that?
It was like by the liquor store. What was that? It was at the corner, like bottle. I want to say bottle and cork, but I don't think that's the right name.
Cork and Kerry.
No, it was in DeKalb.
Oh,
Molly's. Jeez, all
they're
these.
called cork soakers.
I'm trying to think where
Well,
Molly's.
who's the actress that's family with that?
Cindy Crawford.
Yes, her family owned Molly's.
Jeez, I can't remember where the hell it was. I must not have gone there very much. I always went to
Well,
Otto's,
probably not.
Amex, Andy's, McCabe's, right?
It, it
All
was
like,
it was farther west than that. It was at like was it Annie Glidden?
The
man.
paint maker.
Oh, okay. Oh, that side. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't party down there too much. I
Well,
mean,
I
like where
remember.
Sergeant Pepper's was and all those places.
Yes, Sergeant Pepper's was next door,
Okay.
but DeKalb had like Channel 8, their own local news,
Mm-hmm.
and I was standing on top of the bar when he hit the grand slam, and they're like, "We're not going to interview you." I'm like, "All right."
Did you say that you got stuff thrown at you at the Wrigley, like mustard and stuff like that, like when you had the Remember '84 jersey on? Or
No,
no, that's different. I'm thinking of Bartman, probably. I guess. Molly's, jeez, that's like I couldn't even tell you what I thought. I was thinking like Syracuse, and like you weren't in Syracuse, so I couldn't have been that. Molly's, yeah, I don't think I ever partied there.
well, it became in like a new bar in like '90, but it was next to Sergeant Pepper's,
Yeah.
and there was that liquor store next door.
Hey, did I tell you the joke about the Barbie dolls?
I don't think so.
All
No.
right. So this guy's got this 6-year-old daughter, and it's her birthday. So he's got to go to the toy store and find her something for her birthday.
Is this going to get
So
us
he-
banned, Jeff?
huh?
Is this going to get us banned?
No, not at
Okay,
all.
good.
So, so he goes to this fucking toy store, and it's like a mom and pop toy shop. In the front window, there's like a fucking ton of Barbie dolls. None of them have prices on them. It's like all these different Barbie dolls. He's like, that's perfect. That's about her age, blah, blah, blah. She's gonna love this shit. Goes in, talks to the owner, and says, hey, how much for the Barbie dolls that are in the window? He's like, oh, well, that's Skater Barbie's 1995, Night Out Barbie's 1995, Pageant Barbie's 1995, Prom Barbie's 1995, Black Barbie's 1995, Latina Barbie's 1995, and Divorce Barbie's $276.65. Guy's like, okay, wait a minute. All these Barbies are 1995. What's up with Divorce Barbie? Why is she so much? He's like, well, Divorce Barbie comes with Ken's car, Ken's house, Ken's boat, Ken's bike, and one of Ken's friends.
Yeah, it was clean. It was all right.
What? Anyway, you guys like stonewalled me on that one. Is that bad? Was it that bad?
No, no.
It was decent.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, I need to know my crowd. Anywho, all right, we're about the 2 hour mark here.
So
Let's
Sean,
not break the 2 hour and 40 minute mark from last week.
yeah, I don't think we're going to
Jesus
break that record.
Christ, man. That's one thing we said after last week. Was like, man, we really have to check our time.
So you're not putting the girls to sleep tonight, I guess, huh?
They actually went to sleep already. The wife's up there with.
How do
how
you
old
put
is
him
your
to
youngest
sleep? Is
now?
it usually a chokehold or it fucking
Well,
is
the
it
older
is it
ones,
is it what's that shit chloroform?
the
How
older
old's your
ones put themselves to sleep. The one that just turned 5,
five?
she
Okay.
needs a little laying down.
Coaxing.
So I think I know how old you are because I think you were 50, right? Weren't you? Like we were talking about that. Like
I
you were
turned
saying,
double nickels like 2 weeks ago.
yeah. So you're saying when you were freaking out, you were like, I'm gonna be 68 at that high school graduation.
Yep.
Yeah, you broke my record. I was 40 for my youngest, and you'll really feel it because I see some of the parents. If it's their oldest kid, and Henry's my youngest, like the parents are starting to look kind of young to me, like, so. But you're 10 years older than I was. So yeah, that's a big one. That's a
No,
big.
I went into Jewel, I don't know, it was like a year and a half ago. And the woman at the checkout line, she goes, "Oh, Grandpa's taking you to grocery shop today."
No.
And I let it go. And then she said it again. I go, I'm her dad.
I went to the dentist in like December, and it was before Christmas, and he said, I think it was because it was Christmas was coming. He asked me, he said, like, so do you have grandkids? And I just was like, and he's like, he's like, then he felt like, I was like, no, it's fine. It's just like no one's ever asked me that before, like I'm just walking around thinking, I guess, I'm being perceived in a different way than I'm looking at myself, like they're looking at me like, oh, there's a next to that old guy down there that, the rice is down there, something like that. Or, you know, they're looking at me like I'm a grandpa, of course,
That's
biologically, you know, I could have been a grandpa 20 years ago. I mean, I understand that. But so I just told him, I said, like, well, no one's ever asked me that before, And I said, no, I don't have grandkids. So, but we're getting older. They've been in the league. It was 32 years ago that we had the first year. So, and it wasn't like we were 16 years old then either. So.
no.
That would have made me 22,
Yeah, I think
32 years ago.
I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest guy in the beer league, right? Because I'm going to be 59 this year. So.
Yeah, I just turned 54. Chris will be 54 this year.
Yeah.
Chad is right behind you. Chad's a couple years older than me. I think he's 56, 57.
But I still fit in with you guys in your early and mid 50s because I've always been sort of immature. So it's, it works out okay. I'm kind of, right at your level.
Will you still get the $1.50 Meisterbrow at Otto's or whatever it was?
It was $1.75 for a 32-ounce Meisterbrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was with somebody one time. I don't know if it was you, but the head was like, it wasn't, you know, bubbly and lively like a normal beer head. And he scooped out the top of the head with his fingers and threw it on the rug. And it kind of like just stayed the same shape. And I was like, what? I was like, what am I doing to myself
did
just
it
to get a
slither off?
just to get a good deal? I'm drinking this stuff. Who knows? This
Should
isn't
have
beer. What
watched
the
it. It
hell is
probably
it?
would have. It probably slithered off to the side there. You should have watched it longer.
It's like Meisterbrow slash roofing insulation. Like it's the same. It's the same factory.
Well, they probably never cleaned those taps in like 50 years.
But it was a damn good deal, man.
All it was.
We DeKalb, it was an hour from Chicago, but it was a different world, right? We had 30-cent drafts at Andy's,
Yep.
and I remember on Thursday nights I used to be an umpire for the industrial softball league, and it was in Sycamore, and I didn't have a car then. I used to ride a bike. I don't even know if I had a bike. Maybe I used to borrow a bike, and I would, it was like 6 miles, but I got
You
paid
rode all
20.
the way to Sycamore?
Yeah, and I got paid $20, which would be like what, $40, $50 now.
Yeah.
And then I would go right to Andy's. 30-cent draft night. It was great. Remember, you used to, like the Cubs fans do now. They stacked the cups so you could keep track of how
Yep.
much you had. They weren't 12-ounce cups. I don't think they were like probably 10-ounce cups. I mean, they weren't big, but 30-cent drafts. I mean, that's something, man. That was great.
Well, that was a local crowd.
Yeah.
That was actually a rough crowd at Andy's.
Andy's. I
On the
didn't even
30
I,
cent
I
night.
didn't even notice. I was too busy getting my buzz on. That's actually where I met Diane, was at 30-cent draft. So,
The rest is
Oh,
history.
classy.
Nice.
We told the kids we met during Bible study class. It was on
Mm.
Thursday nights, and yes, there was Sacramento draft beer for 30 cents. I was a big tipper though. I would just give them $1, take my 3 beers, and keep the change. Keep the change. I don't need that time.
Versus 10.1 to 11.5.
all right. I think I'm done, boys.
I
Yep.
am too. Well, this was another good one. Hey man, we put in 2 good solid hours.
Yeah.
But Sean, thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks
It
for
was a
having
lot of
me.
fun. I liked your story about Kenny Williams.
Well, it was funny. Like
Doesn't surprise me.
I fuck off. And then Greg Walker pulled him away, and then
He shouldn't have. He should have let you smash his fucking face in.
well, Kenny Williams is kind of a big boy.
Yeah.
He might have kicked my ass.
Well, that's probably what he was doing, is pulling him away so he didn't get fucking sued.
But then you'd have the Kenny Williams kick my ass story. So
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah. And Kenny Williams kicked my ass money.
You probably have season tickets, to this day for
Well, yeah,
White
Jerry would take care of me.
Yeah, just make it go away. You got scout seats for life. Just go away.
Sean, this is Jerry Reinsdorf talking. Sean, I'd appreciate it if we could just keep this between the two of us. And then Sean goes, "Do you have $50?" Sorry, what? $50. Remember from Breakfast Club, right?
Yep.
All right. I think
I can't spend 50 cents when I don't have $1. That's Kenny's line. Seriously.
Yeah.
You remember that?
That's why you got like people like Lennon Sosa on the team and fucking like all these like cheap ass guys that had no business being on the White Sox.
They've got to bring Yolmer back, man.
Yomer
That team
Sanchez.
has not
Oh
been the
yeah,
same. That
that's
team has not been the
exactly what
same,
you
man.
need right now. Leori Garcia. Yes, bring me more of that.
Thank God.
Those are the guys that are going to win us championships.
I think I had both those guys on the lollygaggers at certain times. I know I had Yolmer. That's when things are going good. I'm going to pick up Yolmer Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the trade that really fucked the White Sox was the Chris Sale trade. None of those players worked out for the fucking White Sox. And Chris Sale is kind of halfway worked out for the Red Sox. That's about it. Man,
What did
Moncada,
they get out of that? They got
he's had some. Moncada's had spots and shit, but
but he gets a hangnail and he's out for a month.
I know that's the problem with that fucking guy.
I don't think
we lost that trade when we thought we fucking buried him.
I don't think those trades are necessarily bad. You have to judge them at the time, I think, right? I mean,
yeah,
at the time, but I mean over time. You know what I mean?
Like Adam Eaton, you're getting Lucas Giolito, who when he was in
took
the
on
minors, he
Adam
was like a top
we took on his contract
3 or 5 pitching prospect. I mean,
yeah, Adam Eaton is. I'm glad that guy.
Washington screwed up Giolito.
Yeah.
He threw 98 in high school.
They probably screwed up Ronaldo Lopez too.
You know, you said that Ronaldo sucks, and I was looking at his numbers just for this year, and they're good. I think it's like 14 strikeouts, 2 walks, something like that.
Every time I turn on the TV and he's pitching, he's losing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
That's the
I'm
only
only
thing I
looking
have to
this
go
year,
by.
5 weeks.
I think he would be an okay eighth inning guy. But if you're going to trade,
Well, that's what he's meant to be. I think you got Liam Hendricks that's going into rehab assignment right now.
yeah,
So if
he's
he gets
back.
he gets backed up to speed and stuff like that, I mean, it's like okay, now you're gonna have Ronaldo Lopez at the eighth. You're gonna have Liam Hendricks as the ninth. So who knows? You know,
I
might be
mean,
better for both of them. I don't think Ronaldo Lopez is a fucking closer though.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
how many
you
blown saves has he got this year so far? Probably two or three.
I don't think you can predict. I didn't hear anything. I don't think you can predict that these guys aren't going to be healthy like Eloy. That was a good trade, but who can predict that this guy is not going to stay healthy? The things that I fault them for are last year when they had Keuchel starting in the rotation, and Rodon goes and signs a very reasonable deal with the Giants,
Yeah,
and I think Keuchel had like a 7.68 ERA in that fifth spot. That was huge. That
but
would have
that was Keuchel's last year of his contract. So it's like they were sucked into him. Nobody wanted
but
Keuchel
it's
off
just
of him.
it was so unnecessary because that would have completely changed the dynamic of last season. Because then in the middle of September, they would have been like, let's say, in a position where they were tied,
Then
as
they ended up
opposed to
DFAing him and lost him anyway. You know, they ended up paying him, and he didn't even pitch for the fucking like White Sox last year for most of the year because they DFA'd him.
but no one needed one more starting pitcher in baseball last year more than the White Sox did. Like the difference between what they could have had with Rodon or anybody really and Keuchel was just so huge, and that's the kind of thing they do. Like the White Sox peter out in their depth chart and that fifth starter spot. That's the things that's what I really attacked them for. Not so much like getting unlucky with players that don't stay healthy because you can't predict that. I don't think. You know,
Right.
maybe the Rays can. I don't know what their it looks like, but I can't, and then the White Sox obviously can't. You know.
Well, well, shit. All right, we said we were going off here,
Yeah,
so let's do this for real.
let's
Sean,
try to.
thank you so much. It
We
was
just
great
need
to see
another.
you.
We just need another like 35, 40 minutes to break the record. You want to try it? You want to try for it? Let's go for it.
I don't think
I'm
I'm
just
gonna
kidding.
make
I'm
it.
just kidding. I don't want to go as long as I did again.
Well, hey, thanks for having me.
All right, Sean.
All good. And stay tuned next week. We'll have another guest surprise, and we'll have more things that happen throughout the week. So,
All
Good
right,
luck to
good
the
luck to everybody.
sombreros.
yeah.
Good luck to the sombreros, man.
Good luck. Platinum sombreros.
Titanium sombreros.
There you go. That's your next step up, dude.
They're very light.
All right. Well, Boo, thank you so much again.
This would
Yeah,
still count if you just want to. Just the two of us could talk for another 35 minutes, then we could break the record that we have with Phil.
I don't really want to do that
No.
either. I love you, dude. I love you to death, but not into that. It's Monday. Every Monday is a hard work day. So I just kind of want to just go in the other room and throw the TV on and put my feet up, eat a nutty buddy.
Put on some Bill Burr.
Huh?
Put on some Bill Burr.
Yeah, maybe go in the bathroom, take a dump. Who knows, man? The sky's the limit. All I know
Thanks
is
for sharing.
Elizabeth's gonna be here in about an hour. So,
Oh, okay. All right. You got the spray for the bathroom?
oh, dude, that fan is gorgeous in there.
All right.
Plus, my poo poo don't stink. Did you know that by now? You stayed here twice or once. Oh,
All right, Jeff. Well, I'll see you next week with
yes, sir.
another
Yep, we'll be back at it next week. And
another beer league brother.
oh yeah, you know what? I gotta call Paul and let him know we had to bump back. So Hopefully you can still do it on whatever that day is. We'll figure it out. I'll do the math later.
All right.
All right, buddy.
I'll see
I'll
you.
talk to you later.
All
See
right.
ya.
Bye-bye.